That was Sarah Murray. Thank you, Sarah. Joining me tonight in our WGN studios, Kathleen Murphy. She's the communications director at the Illinois Opportunity Project, a conservative political strategist as well. Kathleen, welcome to Politics Tonight.
Thanks.
All right. You're a woman. Trump was heard saying what he said in that leak on Friday. What was your reaction when you heard it?
You know, I think it doesn't help him at all. Obviously, it's going to hurt him with women. But, you know, especially with his performance in the debate last night, I think that he is still in it. And the reason is this election, from the beginning, from the primaries, has been a referendum on the political class in this country. People know that what they've had isn't working. They know that government has grown larger and larger under Obama, under Hillary Clinton. And so, you know, more than being about electing the first woman president, more than being even about replacing a Democrat with a Republican, this election has been about actually challenging the status quo.
Okay, but now I didn't quite get the answer to what was your reaction when you first heard it. I mean, did you say to yourself, oh no, this is a killer?
Well, it's obviously offensive. I'm not, you know, it is, but it's still, you know, he is a reaction to a political class in Washington that has done far worse, that has really crippled economic growth, that has really hurt people's lives. So obviously it's an offensive statement. I'm not going to defend it.
Now, interestingly, you were to be a delegate to the Republican convention. You represented Carly Fiorina. So, right?
I was a delegate candidate. Yep.
Delegate candidate. So, but the point is, obviously, you were behind a woman in that race, not where it ended up. So, I'm also curious again. Back to the language. One last follow-up. Did it strike you as it's just locker room talk? That's what Trump said last night, or did you hear it as many others have said, which is now this is really the language of criminal assault?
Well, you know, I'm not privy to locker room talk, so I don't, you know.
Fair enough.
Certainly, I wasn't, you know, I don't like the language that he used. I didn't like the choice that he used. The reason I supported Carly Fiorina was that I did really like the way she changed the national conversation on women. I liked that she stepped up and said, women are not a special interest group. We are the majority of this nation. And I think that he needs to maybe look at what she has had to say, some of the points she's made, that women are capable, caring, independent individuals who benefit more when government kind of frees them to make their own choices, and that's where I wish he would go with it.
So you said that you were pleased last night that we actually veered a little bit towards policy. You want to hear about policy, but I have to ask you about one other thing, which was he, of course, before things got going in his very Trumpian fashion, held a press conference with accusers of Bill Clinton, taking it all back to the 90s, and then had him seated in there. Did you look at that and say, fair game, or did you say, why are we doing this?
Well, look, I mean, it is a race to the bottom, and they are both a part of it. I mean, it is. I think that you know, he has to make the case for his candidacy. I don't think that, you know, it was sexist of him. He didn't attack her on her looks. He didn't, you know, imply some of the things he's implied in other debates. He attacked her on her record. Those women are included in that record. Well, her reaction to her husband's transgressions are a part of her record, and she did not tell them they deserve to be heard and believed. She attacked them. She tried to intimidate them.
Well, by the way, he did say you have hatred in your heart. And you know, we're going to appoint an attorney general to go after you and put you in jail. Did you look at that? I mean, was that fair game?
I think when people watch debates, they expect to see sparring. They expect to see some feisty rhetoric. He is bombastic. That is why his supporters love him. That is what that he's a fighter, that he doesn't back down when people say this is inappropriate. You know, he doesn't back down. That's why people like him. That's part of his appeal.
Were you at all? But I had some people say to me, you know, he talked about that nobody respects women more than I do, he says.
Right.
And then but look at the way he's treating Hillary Clinton. After all, she is a woman. Is that an interesting concept, or do you look and say she doesn't count because she's the presidential candidate?
You have to prosecute the case against your opponent. Every presidential candidate in history has had to prosecute the case against his opponent. I think he did make some comments that it was like, you know, come on. But he also hit her on her record. He hit her on her 30 years in government. He continued to define the contrast between his positions on Obamacare, on immigration, on taxes, and her positions
What did he tell us? He was asked specifically, how would you fix Obamacare? What I heard was get rid of it, have some block grants. He did say that. But other than that, Hillary Clinton says, we need to fix this. It's got problems. What is his plan to fix it?
Right. Well, and that's been one of the most frustrating things about this election for people who actually really care about the issues, is that it's been a lot of bread and circuses, and we really have not had a serious discussion on Obamacare, on education, on Social Security, on these things that really impact people's
why do you have
lives.
faith in him? Just a little time left. Even he hasn't released his taxes. There's lots of questions as to whether he's paid, which means not supporting the military, the vets. Once again, how do you say this is the guy that can fix the economy?
Well, again, I think that we really, nobody in this election has clean hands. Nobody is the ideal candidate.
Why isn't she the lesser of two evils?
She has a record in Washington. I think it's, and to be honest with you, as a woman, I am offended by the idea that this woman who has defended someone who's been accused of rape, who's been accused of sexual harassment, someone who, she intimidated the women who came forward. She did not protect them at all. She only to make sure that her ascension was uninterrupted. I find it more offensive that that's to be my champion than somebody who, you know, I don't know what he's going to do. I know in his private life he's made some mistakes.
We don't know what he's going to do. True enough. Kathleen Murphy, Communications Director for the Illinois Opportunity Project. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it and your insight. Coming up next, how Illinois congressmen are responding to Friday's bombshell video.